going to be. When I say the name Looney Tunes, what kind of characters do you think of? The Tasmanian Devil, Tweety Bird, Wile E. Coyote, Elmer Fudd, Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Cool Cat. Huh? Yes, Cool Cat. The other Looney Tune. This video is my analysis of one of the strangest Looney Tunes characters of all time. Cool Cat, introduced in 1967. He is the final Looney Tune, guys. He only appeared in 6 cartoons. So that kind of makes him similar to Marvin the Martian or Taz, that only had like 5 cartoons or whatever. But Cool Cat never became popular. It's extremely rare if you ever find any, like, there's hardly, like, barely any merchandise of Cool Cat. Like, you'll never see Cool Cat with the Looney Tunes. Like, in merchandise, on t-shirts, toys, all that kind of stuff. Like, he's never, like, shown. Like, he's not there. Cool Cat is not in Space Jam. Cool Cat is like the cousin 5 times removed from the Looney Tunes. He's like the other Looney Tune. The one that never got to become popular. The one that tried to become a star, but really never did. And it was at the very end of the original cycle of the theatrical run of the Looney Tunes cartoons. He is a commodity. He's really bizarre to me because when I first watched a Cool Cat cartoon, there were so many things dribbling in my mind like a basketball of what this character reminded me of. He seemed pretty lazy to me from just a writing perspective of what the character is. Now, each Looney Tunes character was charming and funny in their own way, and each of them had their own distinct personalities, but all the Looney Tunes have one thing in common together: anger. They all get angry at shit and take their anger out on each other. Cool Cat doesn't get angry, really. I mean, he does a little bit, but he doesn't really share that same kind of loony anger that the other Looney Tunes have. Also, Cool Cat's personality, he's not loony at all. Granny was loonier than Cool Cat. I think in order to be a Looney Tune, you need to act loony. And Cool Cat doesn't show any signs of doing that.
Oh, brother. I don't know if you guys are loony enough.
Cool Cat is basically, he has the lanky body of the Pink Panther, and he also, like, seems to have the same personality as the Pink Panther. So he's kind of a knockoff of the Pink Panther, and he also has Yogi Bear's tie and collar, and he sometimes has a green hat, and so does another familiar bear we know. And his skin also is like Tony the Tiger. Now, all 3 of these characters I already mentioned, Yogi, Tony, the Pink Panther, they all came out before Cool Cat. It just seemed like Cool Cat is a character that has all these ideas like stolen from other cartoon characters, and they just shoved it in a blender, threw it out there, and they were like, hey, look, there's another Looney Tune character. It's just fascinating watching his cartoons because the humor in it is like, it's just funny enough. It's just like barely funny. It just seemed like it was like the last gasp of attempting to create another Looney Tunes character. So it's really fascinating and interesting to watch. Now, I know I'm saying a lot of stuff here, but I really don't dislike the character Cool Cat. He is a little, I don't know if he's cool, he's just kind of an interesting character. I think he's the character that tried to be cool, but never got to have this kind of push. Kind of like a wrestler in WWE, like a wrestler that is interesting, but they didn't do enough angles with the character or storylines with the character, and then the character ended, and then the person stopped becoming a wrestler because they never gave him that kind of push. That's exactly what Cool Cat was in the Looney Tunes world to Warner Brothers. He had a smooth tone to his voice, which just kind of made him seem like he should be a mascot for cereal or like a cartoon character that's a mascot for a product. Kind of like Joe Camel. Like, he sounds almost as if, like, if Joe Camel spoke, you know, the character of Joe Camel. He's just, like, he's odd. He's the oddball of the Looney Tunes gang. And I know that's actually odd to say, because all the Looney Tunes were odd. So I guess in a weird way, he does sort of fit in, but even though the Looney Tunes themselves are odd, Cool Cat is even odder than them. So it's just, he doesn't fit quite enough in with them. Cool Cat is that bizarre. He's so bizarre, he doesn't even fit in with the Looney Tunes as characters. I don't know. Now, in the first Cool Cat cartoon, he has an antagonist, that I think may have appeared in his other cartoons called Colonel Misfire. And his character's okay. He's like a hunter, and he's got a big honker of a nose. It's just that I found something so retelling about this character of Colonel Misfire. He's just way too much like all these other hunter characters we've seen before in old cartoons. And I get this is that era, right? So it makes sense to see this kind of hunter character again. But it's just been so overdone, though. There's like nothing to Colonel Misfire that makes him really stand out. Like, yes, Elmer Fudd was this hunter character, but he had another side to him that made him stand out as a character, that made him funny, other than him being like this hunter. Like, he wasn't just a stupid hunter, he also like stuttered a little bit, and he showed a very vulnerable side to him, Elmer Fudd. And same thing with Yosemite Sam. He was a hothead, so he just seemed like he also stood out too. But this Colonel Misfire character is just, I guess his character is a misfire. I mean, his last name is just so fitting for the whole series of Cool Cat cartoons, like, to begin with. Another thing that just I noticed right away at the speed of a bullet is his design, like his big nose. Doesn't he look like Inspector Clouseau from the Pink Panther cartoons? Like his big nose and his eyes? He has like the same look to him. And it's just, weird because I was already saying Cool Cat was so much like the Pink Panther, and then Misfire is so much like Clouseau, who appeared in a lot of the Pink Panther cartoons, and not all of them, but it just seemed like every time the Pink Panther interacted with another human being in his cartoons, they always had like a big honker of a nose. So then why introduce Cool Cat with his first cartoon with a character with this like exact same design? When they created the Cool Cat cartoons, were they trying to be unique, or were they just being lazy? I just can't figure it out. Another thing is watching the old Cool Cat cartoons. It's a frustrating experience because I see so much potential in this character, so much untapped potential. To me, it bothers me because it just seems like the cartoons aren't enough. There aren't enough jokes, and most of the jokes are so flat and so safe, or just really overly simplified or something, that they just don't make you laugh. They just kind of make you smirk or chuckle a little bit. It's not like all the other Looney Tunes characters that will make you laugh a lot. Cool Cat just, I don't know. Despite his name, he's never been as cool as the other Looney Tunes characters. So Cool Cat basically disappeared completely after the 60s, right? And then like decades and decades later, in the Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries TV show that I used to watch on Cartoon Network back in like the early 2000s, he actually had like one or two appearances on there, but they were rare or something. And then I was watching the 2000 movie, Tweety's High-Flying Adventure, and it's a pretty good movie. And then I noticed that Colonel Misfire is actually in the movie and interacts with Granny, which I was like, wow, holy shit, it's Colonel Misfire. We never thought we'd see him ever again. And then there's a moment at the end of Tweety's High-Flying Adventure where one of the characters takes off a mask, and it's frickin' Cool Cat, and he talks to the camera. And I don't remember what he says, but it was like, I was so exhausted watching Tweety's High-Flying Adventure, and it was a funny moment for me, because when that moment happened, when I was just trying to finish the movie, my eyes like bulged out of my head, and I was like, holy shit, it's frickin' Cool Cat. What the hell? That was a really interesting, like, shock to see that. To see him again, just wow. I have to give them credit for that. I did not see that coming. Because earlier in the film, when I saw the Colonel Misfire character, I just thought, well, okay, so that character's in here, but they're not going to show Cool Cat, right? And there he was. Interesting. I mean, just think about it, guys. Like all the Looney Tunes movies, in only one of them, Cool Cat appears at the very, very end in like a very short cameo. Cool Cat was never in the crowd at all in the original Space Jam with all the Looney Tunes characters in the crowd. I guess it didn't have every single one because Cool Cat wasn't there. Cool Cat would never be a member of the Toon Squad, but it would be cool, pardon the pun, if he was on the team. Cool Cat never appeared or was referenced in Looney Tunes Back in Action. He's just like not in all the stuff that the Looney Tunes are involved with. And he technically is a Looney Tune. He doesn't seem like he is, and he really doesn't act like he is either. He seems like a forgotten Hanna-Barbera character, kind of like Wally Gator or something. And I'm not throwing shade at Wally Gator. I liked him, but I'm just saying he just didn't. Well, anyway, you know what I was saying. Apparently, he also had an appearance in the new Looney Tunes cartoons on HBO Max, which is neat. He's like in the crowd or something. Another thing I noticed about his design is he sometimes looks like he has Mickey Mouse ears on the back of his head when he's not wearing his green hat. I mean, tiny Mickey Mouse ears. I mean, I don't know. It's just something I noticed. Maybe I'm just overthinking that part, but, you know, whatever. And also, apparently, he appears in an episode of the new reboot of the Tiny Toon Adventures cartoon, Tiny Toon's Looniversity. I have so many mixed feelings about that cartoon. I have to really give it more of a shot. That's a whole other video. I absolutely adore the Tiny Toons. Their original cartoon was one of the greatest cartoons literally ever. It was just phenomenal. All the episodes were amazing, and the animation and all that, and the concept too. Anyway, I'm going to give Tiny Toons Looniversity another shot because I only saw a few clips and I didn't like what I saw. I think it has some modern things to it that just irk the shit out of me, and it's not the golden masterpiece it was when I was a kid, so I don't know. That's a whole other video, you know. Also, this character has nothing at all to do with that weird PSA Cool Cat character that people have made a lot of YouTube videos about, that person that does those educational videos with his character Cool Cat, you know, that really unintentionally funny video series and stuff. It's just weird that he has the exact same name as Cool Cat, and also the logo of Cool Cat from the educational stuff is the same one that was used for the Looney Tunes character Cool Cat. They have the same logo. Really? Like, Cool Cat is so weird, the Looney Tunes character, and then you have the Cool Cat from those educational videos, and he's weird too, so it's like weird on top of weird, and that's just fascinating. I mean, the same name, same logo, really? Same color too? It's like, what the hell is this? Another odd thing that's a connection between both Cool Cats is that they're both characters that tried to become popular and both completely failed miserably, and they're both oddities as characters and as series. I mean, the amount of connections both of these characters have together is like astounding, and they're not even the same character at all, but they have the same name. Now that's something that's pretty loony, but it still doesn't technically count as being loony for the character of Cool Cat. I mean, you know. The only piece of merchandise I can find of Cool Cat being with the Looney Tunes, like being paired with them, is there's this old, like, collector's glass of Cool Cat. That's the only thing I can find. And there's this one rare DVD from Europe or something, from the PAL region, with, like, Cool Cat on it, with the Looney Tunes. I mean, that's probably the only thing. So 2 products. Yeah, Cool Cat, the other Looney Tune. Completely fascinating. And, like I said, I think the character should have been worked on and developed better, and the character could have became a memorable classic Looney Tunes character, and we could have seen Cool Cat with the Looney Tunes later, but they just abandoned the character, kind of like how they abandoned their original animation division in 1969. But when you think about it, they brought back all the old other Looney Tunes characters, even the most obscure ones, they brought back in stuff like Space Jam or other stuff like the video games, but never Cool Cat. Cool Cat, he's a mystery. He is one of the most fascinating cartoon characters of all time, just because of all the, like, stuff that were ripped off from other cartoons to create him, to, like, why he exists and how he exists, and it's just so perplexing and very interesting. Thanks for watching, everybody. Maybe Cool Cat will appear in Space Jam 3. Who knows? That's all, folks.